was an eagle. The symbol for America is an eagle. All right? Go ahead.
It says, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
We didn't understand Latin, and when we came over here to the shores of America to serve slavery, we didn't understand English. Go ahead.
A nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
And they showed that. At one point they had they used black babies as alligator bait. Go ahead.
And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle.
But this man's not the devil. Well, you can't show me a scripture that it says he's a devil. Any man that would take a baby and use that baby for alligator bait, that's a damn devil. Go ahead.
And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed.
That's when you were back in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil. Or
that's another thing that a devil would do. But you telling me I can't prove that this man's a devil. Go ahead.
Or the increase of thy kine, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down.
That's back in Jerusalem. Back during the period of 67 to as far as 74 AD. If you go into the history of Masada, these were Israelites that had a suicide pact. They said they took a pact saying that they would kill themselves instead of being put to death at the hands of the devil, the Romans. This actually happened in history. Go ahead.
It says, wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy power hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, and the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters.
That's talking about cannibalism. And cannibalism is coming back to this country. Go ahead.
Which the Lord thy
and who would a devil do that? Would a devil close you off where you couldn't get no food coming in and you couldn't leave where you were at? And you were so desperate that you ate your children? That you committed the act of cannibalism? And they know that you're eating your children? But you're going to tell me that I still can't prove that this man's the devil. Go ahead.
The flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy power hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that a man that
says enemies again, so you don't forget. They're your enemies. And look up the word enemy in the blue letter. Deuteronomy 28, verse 53. You can't abhor an Edomite.
Yeah, in the Blue Letter Bible, Deuteronomy 28 and 53, the word there for enemy, ayab, which means enemy, personal, national, to be an adversary to anyone, to persecute him as an enemy, to hate. All right, so that was from the Hebrew word ayab, which means enemy, to be an adversary to anyone, to persecute him as an enemy, to hate.
The key word is hate, persecute. Go ahead.
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward the son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward the children of which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates.
Now, do you think they did that? That's something that they got into? That's a tribal thing? To eat your children. The reason why they ate their children Now, if you go to the book, I believe it's in the book, The 13th Tribe. I don't know if y'all have that book with y'all. All right, well, you know what? We're going to go into it because I think they go into detail on how they made it where we ate the grass off the ground, we ate the leaves off the tree, we ate the leather belts, we ate our clothing, we ate off of the trees and the grass till there was no more grass, till there was no more leaves on the tree, till we ran out of leather. And then what happened was we had to eat each other. We had to eat our children. And this and the Romans at that time had the power to allow food to come in. That's supreme hate. That's cruelty. That's something that a devil would do. But now this man jump up and tell you, well, that was my foreparents. Well, look, you're going to have to pay for what your foreparents did. You don't think you're going to catch hell? Is there more to that? All right. Now let's go to the backup in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter.
All right.
Go ahead.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 53. If thou hadst not always slain my chosen, exalting the stroke of thine hands, and saying over the dead, when thou wast drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance, the reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense, like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord. Even
that's called payback. That's called payback. That's why Babylon is going to fall. When you go back to Revelation, the 18th chapter, it details how Babylon's going to fall. There's not going to be any work. There's not going to be any music. There's not going to be any gold. There's not going to be any silver. There's not going to be any. There's not going to be any trading. Go ahead.
Even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into
mischief. That's what the Most High said. What you did to his chosen, he's going to do unto you, and worse. Go ahead.
And shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children.
Right, you're in mischief. You're delivered into mischief right now. That's why you're all over the world, dropping bombs on nations or supplying weapons. Like the Libyan rebels, they're supplied by the United States, man. Go ahead.
Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fail through the sword. Thou shalt fall.
Now that's talking about you Edomites. But you Jakes, you're going to go back into eating yourselves too. Eating your children. Go ahead.
Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger.
Because you got a lot of people that have plans to go up into the mountains. Yeah, I got a cabin up in the mountains. And I got plenty of wood up in the mountains. And I got plenty of cans of food. I got a lot of spam up in the mountains. Go ahead.
They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger.
You're going to run out of that food, and other people going to come around and take that food. Go ahead.
And eat their own flesh.
And you're going to eat your own children. You're going to eat your wife. Your wife's going to eat you, whoever dies first. You got an old person that dies, you're going to eat that old person. Go ahead.
And drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Thou as unhappy shall come through